Howdy Chemistry. I'm recording this video from home, obviously, so it's going to be a little different. And I'm realizing now that the lighting here is not great. Okay, so this video is over mass percent. Now, mass percent is a measure of, well, it's the percent of the mass of an element in a compound. So, for example, if we wanted to determine the mass percent of hydrogen in water, or the percent of water that is hydrogen, we would use this formula. You have to be able to do molar mass to do this, which is why we already covered molar mass and why I've given you an additional 4 days to try and get some help with it. I'm going to, as an example, I'm going to show you 2 calculations that involve carbon. I'm actually only going to show you one because the first calculation is just 0. Because some people always just forget that in order for you to do a mass percent, or you don't have to do a mass percent for an element that's actually in the compound. So, for example, if I asked you to determine the mass percent of carbon that's in water, or H2O, it's 0. There isn't any. Because there's no carbon in water. I feel like that should be obvious, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. There's no carbon in water. It's just hydrogen and oxygen. So as our actual example, I'm going to use carbon in CO2. So this is the equation for mass percent. So the mass percent is calculated by taking the number of the element you're looking for times the molar mass of that element and dividing it by the molar mass of the compound. I'm going to mute my phone. Probably should have done that before I started. Okay, so the mass percent is you take the number of the element that you're looking for in the formula times the molar mass of that element divided by the molar mass of the compound. So, for example, since we are doing, and by the way, MM is the abbreviation I use for molar mass, uppercase M, lowercase m. So, here, I'm determining the carbon in CO2. So the element is carbon. So the number of elements present would be 1 because there's only 1 carbon in this formula. And then the molar mass of carbon is 12.0108, which you get off of the periodic table that I gave you, and you haven't lost, right? I hope not anyway, because you need it. It's on Classroom. And then you divide that by the molar mass of the compound, which is CO2. So that's 1 carbon and 2 oxygens, which I have done here. So I have 1 carbon times the molar mass of carbon, which is 12.0108, which just stays 12.0108. 2 oxygens times 15.9994 is 31.9988. Add up these 2 numbers, and that gives me 44.0096. And I don't have to do any rounding because every single one of these numbers, including the answer, was 6 digits, which is really nice. Saves me a lot of trouble. So this is the molar mass of the compound, the denominator. And this is the molar mass of the element, which I have here. I have only 1 present, so 1 carbon times the molar mass of carbon divided by the molar mass of CO2 gives me the mass percent of carbon. Now, the answer that gives you is 27.2913. I'm reading backwards. Yeah, 27.2913. To turn it into a percent, you have to multiply by 10. Don't forget to do that. Okay, so the actual answer is 27.2913, not 0.272913. And of course it is 6 digits because sig figs are numbers up here. All had 6 sig figs. 1 is an integer because there is exactly 1. I told you all subscripts are going to be integers. 1 is an integer, so it has infinite sig figs. So the 12.0108 and the 44.0096 are our limiting sig figs on this, so it has to have 6. And that's really it. So I'm going to assign you a homework problem for this video. I want you to determine the mass percent of oxygen in H2O, which I am going to post that information in Classroom after this is uploaded. I'll post that in the answer so that you can check it, but I want you to work it out and see if you can figure it out. Monday next week, since we are still yellow next week, on Monday I will give you a worksheet with more practice of these. You will not get as long as this one as you did on worksheet 4 because naming is more complicated, and you guys have had plenty of time by now to get help with molar mass if you didn't understand it. And that's pretty much it. So next week, Monday and Tuesday, we'll be doing calculations over this. Monday, you have a quiz over ionic naming and formulae. So make sure that you're getting that done, that you're checking that. And that's pretty much it. So that's it for this video. It's a pretty short one. I would encourage you, if you got lost at any point in this description, send me an email. Tell me the timestamp where you got confused, and I will take a look at it. If you don't know what timestamp is, it's the time location in the video. So like right now, the timestamp would be 6:45 or 46, depending on when I actually look at it, because it's constantly changing. Anyway, that's it. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys. Well, I won't see you guys next week probably, but I will look forward to hearing from some of you guys if you need help, and eventually we'll be back in class. Have a wonderful night. Bye.